Most people think the hardest part of building wealth is reaching $1 million. It isn't. The hardest part is what happens after. Because the moment your net worth crosses 7 figures, the game quietly changes. The habits that helped you build wealth can suddenly start working against you. The fear feels different. The decisions feel heavier. And for the first time, losing money hurts more than making money feels good. Two people can hit the exact same milestone on the exact same day and end up in completely different financial realities 15 years later. One quietly turns $1 million into $5 million. The other spends the next decade wondering why he never seems to get ahead despite already winning the game. The difference isn't intelligence. It isn't income. It isn't luck. It's psychology. And if you ever reach 7 figures, understanding this might be worth more than the million itself. Michael was 43 years old when it happened. He wasn't a founder. He wasn't a celebrity. He wasn't one of those people on social media claiming to make $50,000 a month from some secret side hustle. He worked as a project manager for a manufacturing company in Ohio. For 16 years he did the same boring things. He contributed to retirement accounts. He invested automatically. He avoided consumer debt. He increased his savings whenever he received a raise. And then one Wednesday morning, while checking his accounts before work, he saw a number that stopped him cold. $1,002,481. He stared at the screen. For years he had imagined this moment. Surely there would be excitement, relief, validation, some overwhelming sense of achievement. Instead, he felt something completely unexpected. Pressure. Because $1 million sounds like a destination until you arrive there. Then suddenly it feels like something you could lose. For the first time in his life, a normal market correction could erase more money than he earned in an entire year. And that's when most people make their biggest mistake. They stop thinking like builders and start thinking like protectors. When you have $10,000 invested, growth feels slow. At $100,000, progress becomes noticeable. But at $1 million, something remarkable happens. Your money begins working harder than you do. Assume an average annual return of 8%. That portfolio generates roughly $80,000 of growth in a typical year. Not from labor. Not from overtime. Not from promotions. Just from existing. Think about that for a second. A portfolio earning $80,000 annually is producing the equivalent of another full-time worker. Except this worker never sleeps, never gets sick, never asks for a vacation, and never quits. The challenge is that human psychology wasn't designed for this stage of wealth. For years you've been rewarded for taking action. Work harder, save more, learn more, optimize more. But once compounding reaches critical mass, your biggest advantage often comes from doing less. And that feels incredibly uncomfortable. Let's talk about David. David reached $1 million 6 months after Michael. Same age. Similar income. Similar investing experience. The difference appeared after the milestone. David decided it was finally time to enjoy life. Not irresponsibly. Just reasonably. At least that's how it seemed. He upgraded from a reliable SUV to a luxury truck. He bought a larger house. He joined a country club because successful people in his area belonged to one. He started flying business class for vacations. None of these choices were outrageous. Each one looked justified on its own. That's exactly why the trap is so dangerous. Lifestyle inflation rarely arrives all at once. It arrives disguised as rewards. Little upgrades. Small improvements. Tiny increases that feel harmless. Until one day your monthly expenses have doubled. David's annual spending increased by almost $50,000. Not because he was reckless. Because he slowly adjusted his identity. He stopped living like someone building wealth. He started living like someone displaying wealth. 15 years later, that decision cost him far more than $50,000 annually. It cost him millions in future compounding. The cruel part is that he never noticed it happening. Because lifestyle inflation doesn't feel expensive. It feels normal. That's what makes it so powerful. Michael took a different path. He celebrated. He traveled. He upgraded a few things he genuinely valued. But he placed a limit on lifestyle growth. His spending increased modestly while his savings system remained intact. The reward was real. The damage was minimal. And compounding kept working. The second mistake appears when people convince themselves that more money requires more complexity. This happens all the time. Someone reaches $1 million and suddenly starts searching for advanced strategies. Private investments. Alternative assets. Exclusive opportunities. A friend mentions a startup. Another friend talks about cryptocurrency. Someone else recommends a hedge fund manager. The portfolio becomes a collection of exciting stories. The problem is that wealth rarely comes from excitement. It comes from consistency. Michael understood something that most investors never learn. The portfolio that gets you to $1 million often remains the portfolio that gets you to $5 million. He didn't add complexity. He reduced it. Broad market index funds. Low costs. Automatic contributions. Periodic rebalancing. That's it. Nothing impressive. Nothing flashy. Nothing worth bragging about at dinner. But investing isn't a performance. It's a process. The irony is that people become fascinated with complexity precisely when simplicity becomes most valuable. Every unnecessary decision creates another opportunity for mistakes. Another chance for emotion. Another opportunity to interfere with compounding. The wealthiest investors often appear boring. That's not a coincidence. It's a competitive advantage. The third mistake is entirely psychological. And it's the one that destroys more wealth than market crashes ever could. Imagine your portfolio drops 10%. At $50,000 invested, that's $5,000. Painful, but manageable. At $1 million invested, that's $100,000. Same percentage. Completely different emotional experience. Your brain doesn't process percentages. It processes dollars. And losing $100,000 feels catastrophic even when nothing has fundamentally changed. This creates a dangerous reaction. People become obsessed with protecting what they already have. They move money into cash. They reduce stock exposure. They check balances every day. They watch financial news constantly. They become prisoners of volatility. Ironically, the fear of losing money often causes people to lose more money. Because markets reward patience, not panic. Michael experienced the same fear. Everyone does. But he designed a system that prevented emotional decisions. His investments continued automatically. His allocation stayed the same. His plan remained unchanged. During downturns, he bought more shares without even thinking about it. While others were reacting, he was accumulating. And over time, that difference became enormous. The biggest misconception about wealth is that every milestone requires a completely new strategy. In reality, the strategy becomes simpler. Once you have substantial assets, your focus shifts from chasing returns to protecting efficiency. You pay attention to taxes. You reduce unnecessary fees. You maintain adequate liquidity. You review beneficiary information. You make sure your estate documents are updated. You eliminate friction. You remove leaks. You stop searching for magic. Because at this stage, the greatest threats aren't dramatic. They're ordinary. An extra 1% fee. A bad emotional decision. An expensive lifestyle upgrade. Years of unnecessary taxes. Tiny mistakes repeated for decades. That's where fortunes disappear. Not overnight. Quietly. The most important lesson has nothing to do with investing. It's about identity. Before $1 million, your job is to build. You push. You sacrifice. You accumulate. You focus on growth. After $1 million, your role changes. Now your responsibility is stewardship. You already own the machine. Your job is to avoid damaging it. Most people struggle with this transition because doing nothing feels unproductive. We are conditioned to believe action creates results. But compounding operates differently. Once the system is working, interference becomes the enemy. The temptation to improve things is often stronger than the need to improve them. And that temptation can be expensive. Very expensive. The investors who quietly build extraordinary wealth aren't necessarily smarter. They're calmer. They understand that boredom is often a sign that the system is functioning correctly. They resist the urge to chase trends. They ignore financial entertainment disguised as education. They focus on what matters and disregard everything else. Because eventually wealth reaches a point where success is no longer determined by what you do. It's determined by what you avoid doing. 15 years after crossing the $1 million mark, Michael's portfolio exceeded $5 million. He wasn't a genius. He didn't discover hidden investments. He didn't predict market crashes. He didn't find a secret strategy. He simply avoided the mistakes that tempt almost everyone after success arrives. Meanwhile, countless people with similar starting points ended up far behind. Not because they lacked opportunity. Because they couldn't resist interfering. And that's the strange truth about the first $1 million. It isn't important because of what it buys. It's important because of what it can become. The real challenge isn't reaching $1 million. The real challenge is having the patience to let $1 million become something much larger. Because the people who ultimately win the wealth game are rarely the most brilliant. They're usually the ones who learn how to stay out of their own way.